What up? This is your boy DJ EFN. You might know me as a drink champ, but first and foremost, I'm a proud father. I linked up with two of my other dad homies, Manny Digital and KGB, to start the Fatherhoods podcast. Each week, we bring you insider hip-hop stories, parenting, and advice and therapy. The saying is true, it takes a village, and we humorously serve as each other's trusted counsel in figuring out how not to screw up being a good dad.
The Fatherhood Podcast. Beats, rhymes, and diapers.
We got the real episode out the way.
Right.
Three Amigos are back, baby.
Now let's do the fake shit.
You faking the funk. Yo, so what's new in the world of fatherhood? What is new, guys?
Well, we had our college episode last week.
That's right.
Yeah, well,
and you have an update though, don't you, Manny? You gave me a little update last night.
Oh, well, yeah, but whatever that update is. But then I'm curious how the dry run went on the travel.
It was the same update, actually.
Oh, that same update. Okay.
He and I got a chance to chat real quick last night, and I broke it down for him. But, so yeah, my daughter finally made a decision after like having a little back and forth, trying to figure out if her number one school was going to accept her. They declined. She was cool. Her backup plan was still right up her alley, so she's super stoked. So we took the opportunity to go visit the campus and give her the experience of what it is to like commute there. So we drove an hour to the train station to take an Amtrak, and then we got on, like really going through the details of like, yo, it's all right. So now you got to give yourself this much buffer time because you got to go find parking and this and that and all these things. And so she was super awake. Normally when we're traveling, doing whatever, like I lead, everybody else for the most part follows, except my wife. We're the ones kind of manning the ship, so to speak. And then the kids are just like on their device, oblivious. Right. This time she was like super aware and like asking me questions like, yo, so when I get like, how do I know what train I'm supposed to take? Because, train stations aren't like airports. So you could get on the wrong platform and be going southbound when you're supposed to be going northbound. And so little things like that. So she was asking me all this stuff, but we finally get to the school. And we didn't rent a car, nothing. Like we're just doing it, regular college style, I guess you could say. And we, going through, we took a tour, like a proper tour. She was asking a bunch of questions. She was super like, first time I've seen her like really leading in asking questions and like inquiring about things that matter to her and that kind of thing. So that was great to see. But we get to a point where we're talking to the financial aid office, and we're like, yo, like we filled out it's called FAFSA for those who don't know. It's the financial aid application. And that goes like to the Fed, and then it trickles down to like the schools themselves. So we did that process. And what came back was like practically zero. And we're like,
because there is no Fed anymore. So
this was before they shut down.
Okay,
before they shut down the Department of Education.
Right.
But yeah, it was like they gave us like what they call a unsubsidized loan as the aid, essentially. And what that means for those that don't know is you have subsidized loans, which you don't pay interest until graduation, until 6 months after graduation. And then unsubsidized means you're accruing interest from the moment you sign that document. There are cases where you don't have to start paying until 6 months after college, but the interest piece is the important piece to distinguish the two. So we're like, all right, we got, and it wasn't even a lot. It was like $5,500, and they cap it per year. That's all they give you. The honor or the privilege to be able to go take a loan out, max $5,500. That's
it. Wow.
That was it. Because based on how the federal government defines it, we're a family that doesn't have a need. Which is why parents all over the country are like, it's bullshit.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're not factoring in like what the nut is that you got to come up with out of pocket. So my daughter, honor student, like really big on academics. She was able to get more or less half of her tuition through covered for the school through a merit scholarship.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's renewable every year, and it knocked off almost half of her tuition. So
Now, does she have to? She knew that going into it, or she applied ahead of time for that, or?
yeah, when she applied and got accepted, that was part of the acceptance letter.
Oh, okay.
They made her
Okay.
aware of that.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's helpful. Shit.
yeah, it's mad helpful. But at the end of the day, you still got to come out of pocket
Yeah.
like 40 racks every year.
It's crazy, dude.
Man.
So now we're like, how do we do this, right? Because we've been stashing college savings, but we started late. Like we couldn't really contribute a ton early on. So the benefit for that is likely going to fall on like our two younger kids. They're probably going to get closer to some real help from that. And unfortunately for our oldest, is going to school tomorrow, basically. Like we got to figure out other things. So the loan situation is not as easy as it was when we all went to college.
Yeah, I've seem to remember like there was a bunch of different loans available.
Tons of loans, very affordable as far as interest rates go, and unsubsidized for the most part.
Yeah.
And a big distinction too is
you get both. You get a subsidized and unsubsidized.
You could do you could get a parent loan as well, like cover some stuff, right? But
get that Pell Grant.
The Pell Grant. We didn't qualify for that. So we get to a point where we're looking at all these options, and then we figured like, yo, there's a 10-year term on most of these loans. 15 years maybe, if you're lucky. Back in the day, it was basically just don't fuck up paying, and you could take however long. Like there wasn't really a term, right? Or if there was, it was like 30 years. It wasn't anything as micro as it is now. So we learned this when we talk to the financial aid guy, because we go in thinking like we did something wrong in the application or something's up because we got nothing.
Wow.
And then the guy
told you this on the spot, or that you had to fill this stuff out all prior?
No, we filled all this stuff out prior.
Okay. All right.
Once we got those results online, we were like, we're missing something. So when we went on site to the school, we were just like, let's take the opportunity and have a conversation. So super helpful dude. He breaks it all down. He's seen this movie before.
Not helpful enough.
Well, as helpful as I guess he could be. But he basically told us like, yo, if this is really that, difficult, like I would recommend you guys appeal the award package you got. And if you have essentially a compelling enough story and supported by facts, like we'll consider that and we should be able to make some adjustments. But likely not cover the rest of it. I'm like, all right, cool, we could try that. And then he told us all this stuff about how loans work now. Basically, like the big kicker was the term length typically is an average of 10 years. And then you got to co-sign for your kid because nobody's going to give a kid like that much dough.
Yeah.
And basically you're on the hook if your kid doesn't pay, right? So I'm looking at my daughter and I'm like, we walk away and I'm like, yo, this is really complicated. Like I recommend you start thinking about a backup plan because I'm not sure how we're going to make this work. And she's kind of like,
how was that ride back?
Well, you said that? and to her credit, right? Like she was there with me, so she heard all this firsthand. And she's processing information and like trying to figure it out. And she didn't allow my, I'll call it what it is, negativity in the moment, deflate her dream or what she thinks is her dream, right? So I'm like, you should start to consider, like, if we can't cobble together what we need to make this work, like your options are go to a more affordable school or take a gap year or go to work. Like this, I don't want to paint the picture too grim, but like these are things that we have to
part-time it or something.
Right?
Yeah.
And she just was like resilient, and my daughter's probably the most involved in her faith in my house. So the first thing out of her mouth was, I know God will provide. And I was like, all right, but God also gave you hands, a brain, and feet and all that. So you got to put the work in. Like, it's not like God's just going to throw it on your lap and call it a day. Like, you got to, hustle. So she's like, no, I know that. And the confidence that she showed, I was like, yo, I got to do everything I possibly can. Like, I can't quit on her and this opportunity. So we went to the campus store. We got gear from the school. Knowing, like, my mind, I'm like, I have to
might not be it, but
I have to return this shit at some point.
Right.
Fake it till you make it.
Right. So, and then, and I'm thinking back too, I'm like, yo, when I went to college, like, the amount of money that I was expected to pay when I was done was crazy at the time.
Right.
And I'm like, but I still went and did it. And I was like, fuck it, I'll figure this shit out. And she's kind of in the same mindset. So my wife is like pissed. Not pissed, but like upset. And I'm like, yo, you can't get
upset
mad
at who?
of the situation. And like, like with my daughter, like feeling like my daughter's not making decisions based on reality. And then I'm like, hold on, we didn't either.
Right.
Like, we was just like, yo, I want this. I'll figure out how to make it work later. If I could defer that and just go get the degree or whatever, and then it'll shake itself out. So thanks to ChatGPT, I start strategizing. I'm like, all right, what loan opportunities are there? What does it really look like post-graduation for a kid out of school with this major, earning this much? How are they going to make life work if they're living at home? And there was more silver lining opportunities from kind of just looking at that and then validating some of that makes this feel a little bit more real. Like, we still got a mountain to climb, but she's in a good headspace. My wife and I are just being supportive and trying to figure out different opportunities for her to pursue. But for the most part, she knows it's on her to kind of drive. And finally, it's kind of a positive here, she's willing to take the wheel. Whereas all up until now, it's been like, mom and dad, you steer. I don't want to deal with that shit.
Well, shout out to your therapist, ChatGPT.
Yo, for real.
Is it the paid version or the free version?
Oh, I got that paid, dog.
Okay.
Does the paid transfer onto the desktop or your laptop? Can you use it on both?
Yeah, I got the
same
app.
version.
Okay. Yeah, I got the app on all devices.
So did you guys do the appeal yet?
Nah, we're working on that. At the same time, she's digging up a bunch of scholarships because she was slow. She wasn't really proactive about jumping on that stuff. But now shit got real. So now she's like, all right. But, sometimes it takes us a little while to wake up and figure out what we want to do.
I mean, it's a good life lesson, that's for sure.
Yeah.
How many different scholarships do you think are potentially viable here?
I mean, there's hundreds out there that she can qualify for. I don't know what the number is, but there's a lot that are income based.
But there's a lot out there,
There's a lot that are income based. There's tons out there. So she's got work to do. She's got to filter through it. My wife is helping her with it too. I'm just like, yo, when you need the muscle, call me. Like, when you need somebody to like go have a serious conversation with somebody, call me. If you feel like you having a bad day, call me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be supportive and like I'm trying to be the strategy guy. My wife is kind of more like the operations person.
Schools are expensive, man. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
Yo, it's tough. It is tough.
And then God forbid you go in there and you don't do well. Oof. And that's
right. Or you just don't even know what the hell you're doing. You know what I mean? You just
or end up feeling like you want to change your career or major or whatever,
What was nice, like, this school painted the picture very clearly, right? Like, they were honest and they were like, look, I think the number they said was like 40% of the incoming class has no idea what they want to do.
Yeah.
We don't ask you to declare your major until your sophomore year. So you've got a year and a half-ish to investigate and explore and figure out kind of what track you want to go down. without sacrificing credits in places that you don't necessarily want to, will not go long term.
That's good.
So that's helpful. And what's dope about this school, they take a vested interest in preparing the kids post school. So everybody's got to do like it's required for you to do internships, for you to do like shadowing and things that translate into the real world as far as work and careers. So a great majority of their students, I think the number is like 90%, are on track like 6 to 9 months after graduation. They have a job in their field.
Oh, wow.
Which is something I've never heard of before. Like, I know when I graduated, there was nobody forced me to do an internship. Like, I should have, but it wasn't a requirement.
Did what's the difference these days in, state school tuition versus private or out of state? How vast is like the
Sizable.
difference?
I'd say it's probably like a 50% markup.
Wow.
Yeah.
For the private.
For the privates.
And this is?
Huh?
This school is
a private. Yeah. It's a Jesuit school. Very much interested in small community style school that has like a religious backdrop.
Why don't they tell God to cover it, man?
I said, yo, where's Jesus now?
Tax free. Come on, y'all got it.
Yeah, man, it's rough out in these streets. But God will provide, bro. So
hey, man. Faith will take you places.
It will, man. But
whatever faith you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, when people with that walk in faith, I give it to them because they move, you know?
Yeah. But like, yo, it's funny because I look at that and I apply it to more than just a specific religious denomination.
No, I'm saying any faith. Even faith in something you want to do. Exactly. Doesn't mean even religion. Like people who like, I'm going to make it there. Like, I'm going to do this. I've seen people that I'm like, this person will never make it because they just don't fit the criteria. They don't have the qualities, but you couldn't tell them any different. And you would see them truck through these things, and them believing in it made other people believe in them, and it got them places. I've seen it in practice.
There's this dope example of that. There's this crew out of Kendall called Crazy Hood. No, but like in the same
a bunch
way.
of dweebs that convinced the world that we can make it.
But in the same, like when you were talking about faith, that's what I thought about immediately. Because like, yo, think about the 1993, right? Was when you guys started.
Right.
Like, yo, nobody would think any movement outside of New York and LA with a hip hop focus would survive outside of those two places. So like for y'all to have that kind of vision and faith was, I mean, that shit was
I don't know that laughable. It would be faith. I don't know that it would be faith. Maybe vision is more applicable than faith. Because I've met people I've met people that I'm like, man, this person doesn't necessarily even have a vision. They just have faith that they want to make it in this career without, anything to go with it. And they're just they're gonna truck through it. They're going to physically break through these barriers. They're not gonna apply strategy, really get things together. And I've seen these people get places.
Yeah, they just believe it's gonna happen no matter what.
They believe it, and they show up to places where you're like, bro, where the fuck is this guy coming, man? Nobody invited this fucker, but they're there in faith, like yo, man, what we doing? This is what I'm doing,
But that's what I try to explain to my daughter. It's like, yo, you can have all the faith in the world, but if you just sitting on your ass and you're not actively pursuing what it is that you have faith in, ain't nobody. The universe ain't gonna help you. God ain't gonna help you. Like, because the expectation is you want it, you gotta start making it happen, and something or someone will come and assist.
You gotta work for your luck. Like, what is it they say? Meet luck. I don't know. There's a saying for it. But I don't believe in luck. But I believe in like you work so much, like you create luck because the opportunities start to like. I don't know. I can't think.
When opportunity meets preparation, that whole thing.
Something like that. Like, how people say this person got lucky. I don't believe in people getting lucky. I just, I believe that if you're constantly
s-
working towards something, you're going
You
to be
set
in
yourself up
in
to
these
meet up with
places,
luck, right?
right, where all of
Yeah.
a sudden luck appears. But if had you not worked to get to that point, then you would have
Yeah.
never been in that position where luck happened,
Right.
When
So,
is so when's the drop period for all this?
so August 1st is when like that first bill is due.
Hmm. Okay.
So, and then we can't really well, I mean, we're looking now anyway, but like the council was saying loans and that kind of stuff doesn't really start popping until like June, was when like the banks or the lenders are thinking about like lending money out for school.
That- Man, I was gonna say, but probably not stuff to talk about. But like creative ways to like find financing. Like the whole idea of like maybe having your children at a certain age. I don't know what age they can create an LLC, but an LLC that can all of a sudden get loans and credit lines. This situation seems like it would be perfect for, because if you have trouble paying it back, it doesn't affect the person's personal credit score.
I mean, they got gotchas in place for stuff like that. Like you can't
Like you can't what?
borrow as an institution or a company to
No, I'm
fund.
talking about you borrow from regular banks
Yeah.
to pay off,
Under a company,
right, under
right?
a company, and you
But I
pay
guess
it.
if you got no assets to go against, probably harder to get the loan, but maybe not, depending on the bank you hit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, the thing is, if you have an LLC for a minute, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't like if you create it at a certain age, and you try to do a little bit of traction on it. You can get credit lines. They won't. Loans are harder. Credit lines are easier. You can get a credit line, a significant amount of money, if it's a company that's been at least around for a year.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, that then, not that you'd want to do this or your daughter would want to do this, but then, there's plenty of people who get credit cards and they put their tuition on credit cards or some
Yeah,
of it.
credit cards, or I'm talking about hard money credit
Yeah.
lines where you could pull money out of it.
Does your daughter have a credit card?
No, got a bank account. She's scared of credit cards.
Yeah, as she should
Yeah,
be.
yeah, it should be. The good thing about the credit lines is that as you pay them back, you replenish the line of credit for yourself, and the
Right.
payments go down. Not like a credit card. It's a different kind of credit line. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if those like if there's people that have done that kind of you know different styles of figuring out how to get
Financing. Yeah.
financing for their kids. If they tried that where they at 16 they made an LLC for the kid and opened up a bank account and had made 2 transactions on it, let it be good for a year, and then fucking got $100,000 credit line.
Yeah. Yeah, we're considering all avenues and doing a lot more research and having conversations to see if we can find like a
I mean, look,
together
man,
with a
you could
company
always
that.
go back to the strip club, bro.
Well, it's funny you say that because I told her I was like, there's a whole industry of people pay for college doing things that you may not
God, you
agree
did not
with.
tell your daughter that, bro.
I sure did.
Ah, come
Sure
on.
did.
I meant you be a stripper. You're
No,
not
I
telling
know what
her.
I know what you're saying, but I said it in jest. But I also said it so she understands because she doesn't have a clue what any of that shit means. So I was like, there's a whole world out there, people doing things that just to pay for college. Like this, that serious for some people. I was like, what do you mean?
yeah,
I
no,
was like, stripper pole in a strip club. And she's like, oh my God, God forbid, Dad. What do you mean?
Oh man. Yeah, that seems like something you gotta it's a hard road right now.
Bro, I mean, for like those approaches, like it goes by so fast. And I know we say it all the time, but like you get caught with your pants down real quick. Like if you don't set yourself up to with a what you call a college savings plan, for example,
Mhm.
or like
What, the 529 or whatever?
yeah, the
Yeah.
529 plan or whatever your thought is about how to help fund. Because I was never going to fund college for any of my kids full time. Like I wasn't going to cover all of it. But man, like if I could shave half off, like that was kind of what I was aiming toward.
Right.
Because we both should have skin in the game at worst. Like ideally, it's all you, but I understand like that's not really realistic. So like, start early. Don't think about too much else because when it comes to this point in time and your kid is interested in doing that, like you want to try to help support. And if they decide, yo, I don't care about college, I want to go be a rapper, that's cool too. You can pull the money out and utilize it for whatever you need.
You got something, Kay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think we got to up the contribution though, because now I'm starting to see like just realizing how fast the time is going. It's like between that and fucking retirement, I'm like seeing how fast these ages are coming up on things. I'm just like, whoa. The preparation, especially coming from, the music or entertainment side of things for years, it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, we're behind. I got the Florida pre-plan.
Prepaid. That one's good if you go to school in Florida. That's supposed to be pretty dope.
Yeah. I mean, I got the there's that, and they also allow you to have a separate little savings account, high yielding.
Oh, really?
That I did for both of them, and I've been doing that for a while.
Mm.
And you could prepay the whole thing too. Like fully fund it. Which
oh, really?
I might do at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just don't sleep on this stuff.
Nah,
I guess the advice that I would give everybody.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can end it there. Don't sleep.
Sounds like a financial.
Yeah.
As the markets currently crash.
Yeah.
Tariffs.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep y'all in the loop as we progress here, and hopefully I'll learn some things I can share with you guys, maybe some life hacks or strategies that work. But right now, all the strategies are welcome. So if the listeners got some ideas, like hit us up on the IG, Fatherhoods Pod. And yeah, share your experiences, your resources, whatever you think will be helpful.
Sounds good, man.
All right, Braden. Peace.
Later.